Maybe I will say a few words first, but this marks the first of a collaboration between Nasim, which is an organization, a network for people with interest in the Middle East, so far as I understood, and Global within you, behind you. And it's also the first or the second of hopefully more artist talks that we will like to do on Global when possible. And we will film it and put it online to see afterwards.
Maybe we should also say that first of all, me and Tamer speaks maybe 20 minutes, and then if you have some questions, you can ask them. And my name is Naya, and I'm a board member of this organization, Nasim. And what we try to do is to provide a broader and deeper understanding of the Middle East, because we often get a very limited impression from the medias. And we are very happy to be in this cooperation with Global Copenhagen, and welcome you, Tamer Abu Ghazaleh.
Thank you.
And I read about you and I was really impressed. You are born in 1986.
Yes.
So you are 3 years older than me, but you have a really impressive career already.
Thank you.
You released your first song as a 5-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah. And then between the age of 5 and 15, you produced songs for your first album.
Yes.
And it was released in 2001. You're born to Palestinian parents in Cairo, but went back to Palestine to study music at the National Conservatory of Music in Ramallah. In 2008, you released your second album, Mira. And now, in this year, you released your third album, Thul.
Yes.
Yeah. And what we're going to talk about is, as we spoke about, your music career and also how it is to be a musician producing music in the Middle East. And a little bit about the music scene in Cairo, for example. And then also a bit about your lyrics, and that was what we did right now. Tamer and me, I was translating it, but I hope I got it right, but we will come back to that. First of all, I think I would like to ask, where did you get all this inspiration and motivation from such a young age?
I guess it was related to my mother, who was she founded a choir in Cairo that is related to singing for Palestine in Egypt, and it was a group of Palestinians in Egypt who sang poems of Mahmoud Darwish, etc. And she used to, this was almost when I was 2 years old. She used to carry me to all the rehearsals and the management of putting together the choir and everything of the sort. And this is when I started to always listen to the people singing. And after a bit, I started joining them and running on stage to sing with them. And I started seeing many instruments and wondering what are those guys doing with those instruments, and asking, can I please learn? And I started. It got from there, I guess.
Okay. And your parents were supportive of this?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
They, I tired them actually, because every time I see an instrument, I used to say I want to learn it, and they used to search for a teacher and bring the teacher to me, and I learned this way qanun, guitar, piano, violin, oud, and buzuk, and I have a lot of those at home, but I actually didn't focus on one of them until I went to Ramallah to focus on the oud in specific.
Okay. And a special thing about your music is also that you use all these traditional instruments and mix it with more electronic sounds. Is it, or do you use this education from Ramallah a lot when you produce songs?
Definitely, I think because in Ramallah I learned a lot in depth about music, including composition, arrangement, music theory, a lot of music appreciation of different styles and performance and etc. And I think this has to do with thinking about music in terms of expression rather than specific tools. Especially when you create music and you're not in specific performing one instrument. So when the creation happens, I guess it's best to use any tool available that is close to my heart. And this is where the electronics came. It came as a when I wanted to play with those sounds that I didn't know exactly what they do, because my learning wasn't electronic, it was fully acoustic. And at maybe 6-7 years ago, I started to play with the software and sounds and see what can I do with this thing, and how can it complete the sound of my music somehow, or add some other aesthetics that I didn't have before, or that I want but I don't know where to get them from. So electronics kind of completed the picture in that sense at the time.
Yeah. I think it could be nice to hear a bit about also the music scene in Cairo, because I think maybe not all people here really know how the scene for alternative or electronic music is in Cairo. And in 2007 you started this music cooperation or musical platform called ECAR.
Yes.
Yeah, and maybe you can tell a bit about that, and also tell people how the music scene for alternative music was before ECAR, and what you think ECAR contributed with.
I guess this one is a long story, so I'm going to ask you, if you get bored of this story, tell me. Because it's a big issue, because in the Arab region there's a lot of new sounds and styles coming out that are driven from the Arabic culture, but going into more experimentation and search for a new direction for Arabic music to take, especially that we have the golden age of Arabic music, which was very big and very important up till maybe the 80s. And afterwards things became very templated, commercial orientated, and very stiff to what the major music companies wanted to produce, and that was it. And the very recent trend, not too recent actually, maybe 10-15 years ago, there was a lot of new independent spaces opening up that allowed people to start getting together and jamming and trying things out. And afterwards you noticed that there was a lot of talents in music, but there was no infrastructure to support that. And the existing infrastructure is either governmental, which is more concerned with folk music, or commercial, which is more focused on very templated pop music. So what was to me very personal when I wanted to release my second album was that I couldn't find a way to release it. I couldn't find a way to release the album in a way that was sustainable, and it showed some actual vision of where this album is going, or not specifically this album, but what movement is my album a part of? This question was not answered. So I started researching and seeing what's happening around the world, and I started to learn about the independent music labels, distributors, agencies, promotion, etc., and independent venues and everything. And I came to a conclusion that we need to start something of the sort in the region, and this is when we started IQA in 2007. And then we faced another story. It's when we started the label, we noticed that we had new releases, but we didn't have distributors. So we started distributing. And then we saw that we have distribution, but we can't promote the albums because there's no way to tour the artists. So he started a touring service and a booking service, and then noticed that there's no publishing happening. So he started to license and publish the music as well. And with time, this turned into rather, from starting with a label, it turned into a platform incubator for music businesses, in the way that now we try to offer all the things that make small music businesses grow faster as independent companies. So we try to, what we do is incubate startups that are related to the music market and can fill gaps in the Arabic music market, so that because it won't do if you have one label or one booking agency. You need 10, you need 20, you need and there is enough talent for that. I mean, there is enough music happening and coming out from Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine. Saudi Arabia has a lot of hip hop coming out. That's very surprising. There's a lot happening and a lot coming out, but yeah, you still need a lot more in the market itself to support this growth.
Yeah, because my next quick question would be if you feel that there's a big interest for this kind of music also in a country like Cairo.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, there is. I mean, it's been growing exponentially. Actually, the interest from the audience itself, especially after the revolutions, because mainly the media had a very big role in shedding light on new kinds of music. So, but even before that, it was. I mean, before the revolutions, it was in thousands. But after the revolution, you could actually reach. Very far areas in Egypt and the cities that didn't actually know this music exists. And now they started following it and knowing about it more attentively. And now you have bands with tens of thousands of audience, bands with hundreds of thousands of audience. I mean, it's huge. But the issue is that in a country like Egypt, where you have 100 million people, 100,000 is still nothing. I mean, it's still not a real. Not everyone in the streets know the big independent artists. So that's, I mean, it's still not as alternative to the commercial music as it should be. And I think it's also not interconnected as much yet, because a lot of audience in Egypt know about what music is coming out of Tunisia and Jordan, but not the other way around yet. So it still needs to grow in an interconnected way, because it's, in the end of the day, it's a very similar culture in all those countries.
And how is the music scene in Palestine compared to Cairo?
In Palestine, it's a different story. It's the difference mainly is that a lot of artists are not inside Palestine. There are a lot of Palestinian artists who work outside from the old ages. I mean, from the times of, for example, Sabreen, which was one of the most important groups in Palestine who took music to another level. And then Sabreen's, one of the main anchors of the band was Camila Joubran, who is now not in Palestine, who lives in France. And other examples of the sort, like Simone Shaheen, like many others, and this is, of course, this is due to the fact that in Palestine, you can add tens of more complications to. It's not only about not having the market; it's about a lot of other things. So musicians can barely survive there, and this is why the musicians that can actually create an influence on the scene are. Most of them are not in Palestine. And this is why in Palestine, currently people are learning from what's happening outside more, and getting, of course, visits from the Palestinians outside from time to time, but it's not really, it's not building as much as the other countries because of all the other difficulties, the political difficulties.
And if I understand it right, you made the songs for the album Mira from 2008 during the Palestinian Intifada.
Yes.
And which was between 2000 and 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us something about that? How it is to produce or create music under such chaotic conditions? It's maybe also a big question.
It is, yeah, but I mean, the songs themselves aren't really, as songs, they're not directly related to politics or the Intifada. There's a song about pure love written by Qais ibn Mulawah, a very ancient Arabic poet. There's a song by Hussein Barghouti that is very poetic and beautiful, but has nothing to do with politics. And there are other songs that I wrote that are more humanistic, but when I look back at the album, I think it's related in the way that the music, even the music talking about love, is extremely aggressive. The rhythms are very aggressive, and things are extremely emotional, but emotional in a strong kind of sense, not in a smooth sense. And I think this is related to the fact of being in that place during that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I also read an interview with you where you say that you don't choose actively to write about politics, but sometimes maybe politics get into the songs because you live in intense environments.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's. I always think of the songs as a reflection of what I'm living. Sorry. And it's very similar to the fact of the rhythm of the missiles being the rhythm of the songs. It's similar when you see something very intense, but at the same time very stupid on a humanistic level, like a lot of what is happening in our region and Palestine in specific. Things get very sarcastic and ironic, and this is more when I write more when I start laughing, and I get inspiration in writing from the sarcasm of the situation more than the seriousness, maybe.
Yeah.
And maybe this is to try and lighten up things for myself.
That's maybe a good bridge to Robert Artist. A song from this current album called Breaking News. What is it in English?
خبر عاجل, yeah. Breaking news, yeah.
And in the video, you can find it also in YouTube. You can see Tamer sitting like acting as a television host or a reporter, who actually invites all the hungry people from the world to come and eat from the Palestinian food. Yeah. And I think it's a good example of this mix between social political commentaries and this more satirical way of speaking. And I think I will read it in Danish, if everyone here speaks Danish. Yes? Okay. And as I said, I hope I got it right, but it's also to get a sense of this way you write, I think. Okay. Til alle de sultne, fra Chile til Kina, der er gratis mad i Palæstina. Tilbuddet gælder fra år 2000, eller lidt før, og til dommedag. Så kom alle I kære folk og besøg os, og spis af goderne, så I vender med det hjem. Hvis I for eksempel spurgte mig, hvordan er maden og hvor, siger jeg, det er et kløgtigt spørgsmål, I er snedige. Tilbuddet af pigerne, hør bare rapporterne. Det kommer sponsoreret til jer, til hver en tyk og hver en tynd. Så kom alle I kære folk og besøg os, og spis af goderne, så I vender med det hjem. Den gratis mad er klar i vores land, den der vil kan komme på gåben til et checkpoint. Spise en kugle, der fylder hans vom. Og den der er ved at sult og har brug for at spise, har fået en missil stukket skråt op. Så en stor vigtig mand kan se ham, sige længe leve Hamas, eller sætte sig over en tanks sigtevåben eller en mur og byde sneskytten velkommen. Jeg ved ikke, hvad sådan en på en tank, den der lange, jeg kaldte det et sigtevåben, det tror jeg ikke, det hedder. Yeah, so
That
it
sounds
is,
good.
yeah. So I feel now you can really discover if I made any mistakes, so it's really good. But it's at least I think it's a very nice picture of all these political controversies in Palestine and how people are very somehow living very living in injustice, in what do you call it? Uretfærdighed. Injustice. Yeah. Do you want to say something about this song, maybe? Or
yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what parts you translated,
I just
but
took the first.
the first one, yeah. I can just talk about a bit about the rest. Is that it's the rest of the song is reportage about the details of this introduction that's related to all the different kinds of ways you can get beaten or shot or blown up, etc. And by all the kinds of people that are there. It's not like you have one enemy. You have plenty, because you have the enemy, the direct enemy, Israel, of course, and you have then a lot of things related to politics that are your enemy. You have it's all over the place, and it's in the end of the day, you as a human being there, you feel that you're actually being torn apart by different things that you have no relation to. You just want to have a good life, and that's it.
Nice. Yes, maybe a bit more about the lyrics. You said that you have been using also classical poetry, and in this current album also. And I read that you said somewhere that some people reacted negatively on this use of classical poetry, because there's a very strict way of using classical poetry in an Arabic context. But do you think someone has also been inspired by this mix of poetry and music?
I think it's more about the way I treat the poetry rhythmically speaking, because Arabic poetry is very very heavy. It's very it's full of the Arabic language, you of course know, has a lot of rules and roots to how you use the words and the rhythm of the words, and I think the main thing some people who love Arabic poetry might not like about what I do with it is that I take the rhythm of the poetry and mix it up with the rhythm of the music. So the word is not really necessarily a word in itself. It might get split into two words, and each half of the word is somewhere else in the tune. And I think this is what some people may not like, and especially poets may not like about the music.
Yeah. I just want to.
Yeah, I think we have to wrap it up here.
I think maybe it could be nice to use the last time to hear if people have some questions.
Please.
Yeah.
Abbas. So, any answers?
But I don't know. I would maybe like to ask one question then.
Yeah.
Because in the press release for this third album, it's also written that your music is very shape-shifting and restless.
Okay.
And I think what is meant is like this, you have a lot of, it's very dynamic also. Maybe that is why it's called restless, but can you maybe, what do you feel characterize this album, if it's not restless and shape-shifting?
I think this could be because it includes a lot of different approaches to music making, because the album includes songs I made since maybe 8 or 9 years ago up till last year. So this combination includes a lot of changes in my personal taste in music and what I was curious about playing with in music. So at some times you'll find the songs that are very experimental, and they break the rhythm, they break the mood, and they even break how scales should flow. And other songs are very smooth and emotional, and they feel more like songs. And there's a last part which is more electroacoustic, with a lot of satire in the lyrics and a lot of maniaque, like we call, which is like sarcasm and fooling around with words and music. And I think this might be the reason why it could be described this way. It's because it's not a concept album. It's not a one kind of whole. It's a lot of things here and there that describe a certain phase or many phases in one period of time.
Yeah. And what do you think your next projects are? Do you want to do more individual projects, or do you want to do more for this music scene?
I hope both. I hope. The next thing I'm finishing right now is a collaboration, is a trio with Mariam Saleh from Egypt, and Maurice Luca, who's also playing with the Dwarfs of East Aguza and Global here. This trio is like an experimental electro-shabi Arabic kind of combo, and we're just mixing the album now, and we're really excited about it. So this is the thing coming up, hopefully beginning of next year.
Okay, nice, because I also wanted to ask you if you can recommend people something from the Cairo music scene, but now you did. So, yeah, I think that it was it. And thank you, and I look forward to hearing your show tonight.
Thank you. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you can enjoy it. Thank you very much for that. Night.
Yeah, thank you.